picture this: a tree, ancient and sprawling, not just in the soil of Egypt, but in the very heart of human spirituality. What is it about the tree of life, what the ancient Kemetic sages called Chet and Ankh, that's captivated seekers for thousands of years? Let me tell you a story about its roots. While many hear tree of life and think of Kabbalah or perhaps the biblical Garden of Eden, the Egyptian Kemetic version predates both, standing as the world's oldest mapped quest for enlightenment. It's a symbol, yes, but it's also a living process, a blueprint for the soul. Now, you might be wondering, isn't a tree just a tree? But in Kemetic wisdom, every branch and root is charged with cosmic energy, what they called neteru, or divine forces. Think of neteru as both the gears and the electricity running the universe's machinery. So today, we'll journey up this sacred tree, exploring its mythic origins, its role in Egyptian spirituality, and the psycho-spiritual adventure it promises anyone brave enough to make the climb. Ready to step beneath ancient branches and discover what grows in the intersection of history, myth, and the deepest longings of the human soul? Let's begin. Let's dig deeper right to the roots. The Kemetic tree doesn't stand alone. It's nourished by the concept of Neter, the supreme being, and its myriad expressions, the Neteru. Now, in modern language, you might think of Neter as God, but that's only half the story. In Kemetic thought, Neter is both the endless ocean and every drop within it. The Neteru? They're each a cosmic force, kind of like how gravity shapes our reality yet remains invisible. The Neteru are the functional tools of creation, each with unique traits, desires, and lessons for us. Now you might ask, so are these gods, or are they natural laws? The answer, both. The Neteru manifest as deities Aset, Isis, Asar, Osiris, Heru, Horus, but also as psychological archetypes and cosmic principles. Imagine the tree of life as a giant circuit board, each Neteru a living node. By understanding their interplay, we can tap into the cosmic current and evolve our consciousness. So, the Kemetic tree is not just myth, it's a living, breathing guide to the mysteries within and without. Every journey needs a map, and in ancient Egypt, that map begins with myth. The Anunian creation story, springing from the city Anu, is no mere fable. It's a coded transmission for inner awakening. The tale starts with the primordial waters, Nun, endless, dark, and full of potential. Out of Nun rises Ra, the sun, who births the first gods and goddesses Shu, Tefnut, Geb, Nut, and down the line. Each new divinity, or Neter, represents a stage in the condensation of spirit into matter. Now, imagine these Neteru as rungs on a ladder. The further from Ra, the more condensed and complex the realm until we reach the physical world. And yet, the journey isn't just downward. The tree of life invites us to climb back up, awakening each Neteru within ourselves. If you're thinking, why map cosmic birth as a tree? Consider this. Trees bridge earth and sky, root and star, known and unknown. The myth is a map, and the tree is our means of ascent. So next time you see an ancient Egyptian relief of gods emerging from a tree or the sacred jade pillar, remember, you're looking at your own evolution carved in stone. Let's pause on the jade pillar, a symbol that's both mysterious and foundational. The jade, sometimes called the backbone of Osiris, isn't just an object, but an energy blueprint for human enlightenment. In myth, the jade originates from the body of Asar, Osiris, cut down and transformed into the pillar that holds up the world. This isn't merely a story about death, it's about resurrection, the triumph of spiritual stability over chaos. Technically, the jade symbolizes steadfastness. It's a psycho-spiritual axis, like the human spine in Kundalini Yoga, or the trunk of a tree that allows energy to rise. When our jade is upright, our inner life force, the sekhem, can flow freely from root to crown. Now, you might think, is this just metaphor? But the Egyptians encoded this in ritual, art, and architecture, hoping we'd remember true power is anchored in spiritual integrity. So, the next time you face adversity, ask yourself, is your inner jade upright? Are you rooted enough to stand tall in the storms of life? Let's ascend the tree's trunk and peek into the three great realms, Ta, Duat, and Pet. In kemetic philosophy, these aren't just mystical places, they're modes of consciousness. Ta is the earth, the physical plane where we hustle, struggle, and dream. Duat? That's the subtle realm, the astral, the world of dreams and ancestors, but also the subconscious mind. And Pet, the sky, is the realm of pure spirit and clarity. Here's a technical twist. Think of these realms as ontological strata, layers of being, each with unique vibrational frequencies. Like radio stations, you tune in based on your mental and spiritual calibration. Now, you may wonder, isn't this just afterlife talk? But the Tree of Life says, no, these realms are accessible now through meditation and self-cultivation. The journey isn't just post-mortem, it's the template for everyday enlightenment. So the question is, which realm are you inhabiting right now? And are you ready to climb higher? Let's step beneath the shade of the tree goddess. In kemetic art and myth, a nurturing figure often emerges from the branches. Nut, the sky goddess, cradling souls in her celestial embrace. Nut isn't just a motherly figure, she's the archetype of cosmic nurture. Her arms become the heavens, her body the Milky Way. When Asar is resurrected, it's Nut who lifts him up. This gesture isn't just compassion, it's initiation, the soul ascending from matter to spirit. If you're thinking, how does this relate to me? Consider Nut as the divine matrix, the field of potential supporting every transformation. In modern terms, she's the cosmic substrate, the underlying fabric that sustains consciousness. Nut's presence in the Tree of Life is a reminder. We're not climbing alone. The nurturing feminine, the balancing yin is ever present, ready to help us reach for the stars. So next time you feel alone in your spiritual quest, remember, Nut her branches stretch across the universe to catch you. Now, let's pause for a moment of comparison. If you've studied Kabbalah or heard of the Sephirotic Tree of Life, you might notice echoes in the kemetic system. But are they truly the same? Both traditions use the tree to map the soul's ascent, but the Egyptian Paudi focuses as much on archetypal personalities as on abstract qualities. Whereas Kabbalah lays out 10 spheres, Sephirot, emanating from the divine, kemetic wisdom gives us living gods and goddesses, each with a mythic story and practical lesson. Think of it as the difference between a technical blueprint and an illustrated epic. Both are valuable, but the kemetic tree invites you to embody the journey to live, not just conceptualize, the divine climb. Now you might be thinking, so did Kabbalah borrow from Egypt? Historical evidence suggests profound cross-pollination, especially as Moses and early Jewish sages engaged with Egyptian priesthoods. But each tradition crafts its own path up the tree. In the end, both trees root in the same soil, the human thirst for union with the One. Let's talk about the Paudi, the company of gods and goddesses. These aren't just a divine family tree. They're the stages of your own becoming. The Paudi begin with Ra, then emanate Shu, air, order, Tefnut, moisture, feeling, Geb, earth, stability, Nut, sky, transcendence, and so on, all the way to Heru, conscious victory. Each netter is a step on the psycho-spiritual ladder. If you think of the Paudi as ontogenetic archetypes, they're not just cosmic powers but psychological functions. Your journey up the tree is about activating and harmonizing these forces within yourself. Now, you might wonder, is this just personality typing in disguise? Far from it. The Tree of Life isn't about boxing you in. It's about freeing your true nature, ascending from basic instincts to cosmic awareness. The real drama? It's the struggle and reconciliation between the opposing aspects order and chaos, light and shadow, matter and spirit that shape your soul's evolution. The path up the tree isn't just myth or psychology, it's encoded in word and ritual. Shatat Neter, the hidden divine teachings, form the backbone of kemetic spirituality. The Egyptians revered Medu Neter, sacred hieroglyphs as more than writing. Each glyph was a living energy, a hakau or word of power. Just as a programmer uses code to build software, so the initiate uses hekau to transform consciousness. Now, you might be skeptical. Can words really change reality? Modern neuroscience tells us language shapes perception and even behavior. The ancients simply took this further believing vibrational sound could align us with cosmic order. Let me tell you a secret. Reciting meditative chants or visualizing glyphs isn't superstition. It's psycho-technological practice designed to reprogram the subconscious. So, next time you see an Egyptian priest chanting before a temple wall, know that he's not just praying, he's hacking the matrix of reality. Let's walk through a kemetic temple. These weren't just places of worship, they were sophisticated theurgical laboratories, each dedicated to a specific netter or cosmic principle. Theurgy means God working, the art of invoking the divine within and without. Each temple was built according to cosmic geometry. Think of it as a spiritual circuit, channeling subtle energy to the initiates who process through its halls. Now, you might say, didn't all ancient people build temples? Yes, but kemetic temples doubled as maps of the inner journey. The sanctuaries mirrored stages of ascent on the Tree of Life. The innermost sanctuary, the Holy of Holies, symbolized union with the Supreme Netter. Even the art and reliefs were functional. They acted as mnemonic devices, encoding the process of awakening. So when you next see a ruined pylon on the Nile, ask yourself, what mysteries were once enacted here, and how might you resurrect them in your own life today? At its heart, the kemetic Tree of Life is a map of transformation. The journey begins in Ta, the world of daily struggle, and points the way to Pet, the realm of cosmic unity. Each sphere along the tree is a challenge and an opportunity. You'll face Geb's gravity, the pull of material desires, Set's chaos, the shadow within, and Nebthet's call to let go of attachments. These aren't just mythic trials, they're the very obstacles you encounter in life. Now you might wonder, is this all just allegory? But ask yourself, haven't you felt these battles inside between what you want and what you know is right? Between the comfort of the known and the allure of the infinite? The Tree of Life isn't escapism, it's the hero's journey, writ cosmic. Every step upward is a step inward, a return to your true, infinite self. So, are you willing to climb? The view from the top, they say, is nothing short of enlightenment. You might be asking, what does an ancient tree have to do with my modern life? Let me show you how the kemetic Tree of Life branches into today's spiritual practices. The motif survives in yoga's chakras, rising energy, subtle centers, and the union of self and cosmos. Even the Christmas tree, topped with a star, is a distant cousin symbolizing ascent and illumination. And in the age of psychology, we're still climbing. Every time you pursue personal growth or shadow work, you're retracing the ancient journey up the tree. In technical terms, the kemetic model is both a psycho-spiritual heuristic and a practical guide pointing to integration, healing, and higher awareness. So don't be fooled by the distance of centuries. The tree's wisdom is encoded in your DNA, waiting for you to remember. The question is, are you ready to reclaim your place among its branches and bear the fruit of enlightenment in your own life? So, what have we learned, wandering among ancient branches? The kemetic tree of life isn't just an artifact of history, it's a living system, a psycho-spiritual engine that can still transform lives today. But knowledge alone isn't enough. The kemetic tradition calls us to practice, to embody the wisdom of the Neteru, to upright our Jed, to connect heaven and earth within ourselves. Now you might protest, can I, in the 21st century, really live by principles carved on temple walls? The answer, absolutely. Each time you choose truth over illusion, order over chaos, compassion over indifference, you're ascending the tree. Let me leave you with this. The tree's greatest secret is that it's rooted in you. The climb is the purpose, and the summit, the awakening to your own divine nature, is the fruit we've been hungering for all along. So, will you step into this living myth? The journey is yours to begin, and the tree of life waits patiently, as it always has, for you to rise.